common question that we get is what issues can be addressed in a Georgia DUI administrative license suspension hearing? By the end of this video, you'll have an understanding of what those issues are and how they're raised, as well as another purpose that the administrative license suspension hearing can serve. I'm Paul Ganuni, founder and managing attorney at the Teen and Young Adult Defense Firm, where we focus on protecting the futures of people in their teens through their mid-20s when they get in trouble with the law. Now, this video is going to be a general informational video. It's not specific legal advice for your case. If you need specific legal advice for your case, please contact our office. Now, the first thing you need to understand is that an administrative license suspension hearing is not a trial on the DUI case itself. It's not about whether you're guilty or innocent of the DUI. That's not the focus and purpose of the hearing. The legal purpose of the hearing is limited to these 4 issues for determining whether or not your license should be administratively suspended. Now, there can be other strategic purposes to having this hearing, and those strategic purposes can include having the officer under oath, having the opportunity to question the officer prior to trial, having the opportunity to have a transcript of that questioning to be used in negotiating the DUI case, or it can be to try to fight the administrative license suspension hearing itself, or it can be to come up with a negotiation with the officer in regards to the administrative license suspension hearing. So there's a lot of purposes and reasons that it can take place, but if you're conducting the hearing, there are 4 issues that the judge is allowed to make a decision on. The first issue is whether the officer lawfully arrested you for DUI. That can include things like whether you were actually driving or operating a moving vehicle while under the influence of alcohol or drugs. It can include whether the officer took the right steps in actually conducting that arrest. Next, whether the officer properly notified you of your Georgia implied consent rights, and including what happens if you refuse to take a state-administered chemical test. The next issue is whether you refuse the test if they're alleging that you refused the test, or whether the test showed a per se result for you. And I say per se result for you because if you're 21 or over, that per se result would be a 0.08 or greater. If you're under 21, it would be a 0.02 or greater. And if you were operating a commercial vehicle, it would be a 0.04 or greater. And then the last issue to be addressed is whether the tests were administered by somebody who has the proper credentials through the Georgia Bureau of Investigation on a device that's properly approved by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. So these are the 4 issues that would be raised and addressed in an administrative license suspension hearing for a Georgia DUI. Now, a couple of key points to understand about this hearing is that while I talked earlier about the ability to try to negotiate something with the officer, the only thing that you're negotiating is whether or not your license is going to be administratively suspended. And a lot of times what the officer has tried to get you to do is sign a form agreeing to plead guilty to the DUI, which can be very early in the process and could impact your defenses to DUI and how you conduct your DUI case. The other issue to realize is that these administrative license suspension hearings are formal court hearings. Now, they have a more relaxed set of rules of evidence and some rules of procedure, but they do have rules that have to be followed. So even if you have a valid issue in one of these situations, if you don't properly raise it in front of the judge, you could lose this hearing when you should win it and not have your license suspended. If you're dealing with an administrative license suspension hearing for a Georgia DUI and you need help with that, please contact our office for a complimentary defense strategy meeting to see how we can help.